I want to create a world in which my son is proud of what we do.
Just moments ago, Buckingham Palace confirmed devastating news about Prince William, and the shock hit like a punch to the chest across Britain and beyond. The heir to the throne, long seen as the steady force meant to carry the monarchy forward, is now at the centre of a heartbreaking announcement that has left millions stunned, confused, and desperate for clarity. Rumours are moving fast, emotions are running hot, and the reality behind palace walls is far heavier than anyone expected. Whispers are swirling, questions are stacking up, and people everywhere are asking the same thing. What really happened inside the palace? The answer could flip everything we thought we knew about the royal family. Before we go further, hit that like button and drop your thoughts below, because your voice matters in this unfolding royal moment. The breaking moment hit Britain like a thunderstrike out of nowhere. Just minutes ago, the royal family confirmed devastating news involving Prince William, and the country seemed to freeze in place. This was not a slow leak or a planned reveal, but a sudden announcement that arrived without warning and carried a weight far deeper than politics or ceremonial duty. For years, Prince William has been viewed as the calm anchor in a chaotic royal world, the steady hand pushing the monarchy toward a modern future while still respecting tradition. His reputation for balance, compassion, and quiet strength earned him real respect and genuine affection from people across the globe. Now, with this unexpected revelation from the palace, that sense of certainty has cracked, leaving nothing but unanswered questions. The official statement released through palace channels was short, controlled, yet emotionally heavy. It confirmed that the prince is facing what was described as an incredibly difficult and private moment, and asked the public for understanding as the family copes. Those carefully chosen lines were enough to send shockwaves racing through the media in seconds. Headlines exploded across every major news site. Television anchors struggled to keep steady voices, unsure how to describe what had just been confirmed as social media erupted. The reaction was instant and overwhelming. Words like heartbreaking and unbelievable surged to the top of trending lists as millions tried to process the news in homes, cafes, offices, and packed public transport. Conversations everywhere turned to Prince William. People spoke about his composure, his loyalty to duty, and his lifelong commitment to public service. Many remembered how he carried himself after the passing of Queen Elizabeth, how he stood firmly beside King Charles, and how he kept showing up despite non-stop pressure and scrutiny. The idea that the man long seen as unshakable could now be facing something this painful left the public feeling powerless. Outside Buckingham Palace, crowds gathered almost immediately. Some stood silently, shoulder to shoulder, as if holding the moment together through shared disbelief. Others arrived carrying flowers or handwritten notes, quiet gestures of support for a man and family they have never met, yet watched grow up in full view of the world. There was no spectacle, no shouting, only stillness, disbelief, and the shared understanding that wealth and status do not protect anyone from life's hardest blows. Inside the palace, sources say the atmosphere has turned heavy and subdued. Staff were instructed to protect privacy and manage media contact with extreme care. The prince, according to aides, is focused on his family and his personal well-being. Close friends have requested space, while aides describe this as one of the most challenging periods the royal family has faced in recent memory. The ripple effects of this announcement are expected to stretch on for weeks. Prince William has always symbolised continuity, the bridge between tradition and the future. Now that bridge appears to tremble under the weight of sorrow as the nation watches, waits, and worries. This moment is already being marked as one of the most difficult and defining chapters in modern royal history. When the official confirmation finally appeared, it felt as if time stopped completely. The wording was calm and measured, yet its impact rolled across the world instantly. It spoke of a deeply personal and difficult situation involving Prince William and asked for privacy as the family faced it together. The formal tone could not hide the heartbreak. Within minutes, regular television programming was interrupted. News sites flooded with updates and social feeds filled with disbelief. After days of silence, the palace had finally spoken, and many wished it had not been for such a painful reason. The timing added to the shock, shattering what seemed like a rare calm period for the royal household. Veteran royal reporters admitted they never saw this coming. Cameras quickly turned toward Buckingham Palace, where the tall iron gates stood unmoving beneath a grey London sky. That image became a symbol of national concern, reflecting the unease spreading across the country. Behind the restrained wording of the statement sat a truth that could not be fully explained. Something serious had happened, something that struck at the core of a family known for composure and restraint. Words like deeply personal and difficult are never used lightly in royal language, and their inclusion spoke volumes. Inside palace walls, the mood was described as somber and tense. Staff moved quietly through corridors, voices lowered, even long-time employees shaken by the gravity of the situation. The decision to release the statement followed long private discussions among senior royals, with debate over whether silence might be safer. Ultimately, it was Prince William's wish that the truth, however painful, be acknowledged openly. He has always valued honesty with the public, even when it invites pressure. As the news spread, messages of support poured in from across the Commonwealth and beyond, from leaders, public figures, and everyday people alike. Many praised the prince's years of service and strength. Others offered prayers, recognizing that no title shields a family from pain. In homes and cafes, people spoke softly about William, the boy who walked behind his mother's coffin, the man who carried himself with dignity, and the father deeply devoted to his children. Seeing him linked to such sorrow felt personal to millions. No one expected this. Headlines everywhere echoed the same words: devastating and unexpected. For generations, the monarchy has symbolized endurance and control, yet this moment revealed something deeply human. Behind the tradition, hearts still ache and families still grieve. The royal family's request for privacy has been acknowledged, but the nation continues to wait, holding on to hope that compassion and understanding will rise from this darkness. Shockwaves continue to move across the country as the news spreads, and within minutes of the statement's release, disbelief and sorrow swept every platform. Hashtags bearing Prince William's name trended worldwide, uniting millions in shock and sadness. For many, he had always represented stability in uncertain times, and now he stood at the center of a story no one wanted to believe. Social media turned into a digital vigil almost instantly. Thousands of messages poured in within moments, filled with grief, love, and disbelief. From London to New York, Sydney to Toronto, timelines filled with images of Prince William smiling beside his family. People repeated the same words again and again: "I can't believe this." Politics, gossip, and celebrity noise faded into silence. The world grieved together in real time, and every message carried the same unspoken wish: strength for the prince and his family, as public figures and world leaders joined in, offering sympathy, honouring his years of service, and expressing solidarity, thanking him for his compassion and leadership. Even former royals who had long stepped away from the institution were said to have reached out privately, quietly setting aside old tensions as this devastating news settled in. Old disagreements suddenly felt small in the face of something so serious, so human, and so heavy. In moments like this, titles fade and concern takes over. Beyond screens and headlines, emotions spilled into the real world and took physical form. Crowds began gathering outside royal residences, drawn not by curiosity or spectacle, but by empathy and shared worry. At Buckingham Palace, families stood side by side in silence, no words needed, only presence. Some held small flags, others placed flowers and handwritten notes along the iron gates. Simple messages read, "We are with you," and "Stay strong," short lines carrying deep meaning. In Windsor, similar scenes unfolded as the usual hum of tourists disappeared, replaced by a quiet, reflective hush. It felt as though an entire nation had paused together, breathing the same heavy sigh. Streets slowed, voices softened, and the moment lingered longer than anyone expected. There was no rush, only stillness. Television coverage captured these scenes in real time, and even veteran reporters spoke gently. Their usual sharp delivery gave way to respect and restraint. Experts described the public reaction as unprecedented, clear proof of how deeply people feel connected to Prince William. For many, he has always represented continuity, a modern royal grounded in empathy, family values, and emotional intelligence. Seeing him face such a personal struggle forced people to confront the fragility behind the crown, the reality beneath the ceremony. Even those who had never followed royal news found themselves unexpectedly moved. In classrooms, teachers paused lessons to answer children's questions carefully and calmly. In offices, people gathered around screens, refreshing updates together. On buses and trains, phones were checked again and again. Strangers exchanged quiet nods, shared glances saying everything without words. The grief felt collective, yet deeply personal, as though everyone had lost someone familiar. As night fell, candles glowed along palace gates, flowers carpeted pavements, and handwritten notes fluttered in the wind. Despite the heartbreak, there was an unmistakable sense of unity spreading through the crowd, a rare, quiet togetherness that crossed class, age, and belief across Britain and far beyond. People stood shoulder to shoulder, hearts heavy, but joined by compassion rather than fear. It was a moment that reminded the world that even in sorrow, shared humanity endures, shining through darkness with a faint but steady light of hope. For as long as he can remember, Prince William has lived beneath the weight of a crown he has not yet worn. Destiny was placed on his shoulders when he was still a boy, and the world has watched every move ever since. Every step, every word, every smile has been measured, analysed, and stored in the collective memory of a nation that sees itself reflected in him. To many, he carries both the legacy of his mother and the promise of the monarchy's future. He has always appeared composed, steady, and calm under pressure. But beneath that composure is a man who has carried more weight than most could imagine. The heir to the throne is not just a title, it is a lifelong responsibility, a burden that grows heavier with each passing year. William has been groomed for leadership, prepared for kingship, and expected to balance duty with the demands of modern life at every turn. Yet he is also a husband and a father, longing for ordinary moments with his family, moments without flashing cameras, without whispered headlines, without constant judgment. For years, he managed to walk that line with grace, but lately the cracks have begun to show. In recent months, those close to the palace noticed subtle changes. His schedule grew lighter, his public appearances fewer. When he did appear, his familiar energy seemed replaced by quiet fatigue. The easy smile that once charmed millions was still there, but it no longer reached his eyes the way it used to. Many assumed it was simple exhaustion, the natural cost of balancing royal duty with family life. But as weeks passed, whispers began circulating among royal watchers that something deeper was wrong. Behind closed doors, sources say William was struggling to maintain balance. Public duty collided with personal challenges no amount of preparation could soften. The pressure to uphold the dignity of the monarchy while shielding his loved ones from relentless scrutiny weighed on him daily. Each day brought new expectations, new stories, new speculation, leaving little space for peace or privacy. Those closest to him, especially his wife, noticed the toll it was taking. Kate reportedly encouraged him to slow down, to step back when needed, to protect himself and their children. For a man defined by service and responsibility, that was never an easy choice. The monarchy's unspoken rule has always been endurance, but even the strongest heart can only carry so much before it begins to ache under the strain. Few truly understood how serious things had become until now. The palace's recent announcement made it clear that the strain was far deeper than anyone imagined. It revealed a truth long hidden behind ceremony and protocol. Beneath the titles and traditions stands a human being facing extraordinary pressure. For the first time, the world sees Prince William not just as a future king, but as a man caught between two worlds, the life he was born into and the life he longs to protect. The balance that once seemed effortless has finally faltered, and the nation that once looked to him only for stability now looks to him with compassion. In this moment of vulnerability, his humanity shines brighter than any crown, a reminder that even princes can bend beneath the weight of expectation. Behind the grand walls of Kensington Palace, away from flashing cameras and endless speculation, there is a family quietly hurting beyond public view. The news shocked the world, but for those closest to William, the struggle has been long and painful. At the heart of it stands Kate Middleton, the woman who has remained beside him through every storm. She has long been admired for her warmth, composure, and ability to balance royal duty with motherhood. Now, more than ever, those qualities are being tested in ways few can fully understand. In the days since the announcement, sources describe an atmosphere of quiet resilience inside the palace. Kate has reportedly focused on protecting their 3 children from the weight of events unfolding around them. She knows their lives already exist in the spotlight. She wants their home to remain a refuge, a place where laughter can still exist despite the sadness pressing in. Friends say she keeps routines steady. School runs, bedtime stories, reassurance, and love. It is her way of holding the family together, of preserving normalcy amid chaos. This is not her first test under public scrutiny, and she has endured relentless attention without breaking. Those close to her say her calm comes from devotion to her husband and children. She believes in family, unity, and the quiet courage of standing by the people you love. Inside the palace, the mood remains subdued, but not without hope. Staff move carefully through the halls, senior royals offer support through private visits and calls, and there is a shared understanding that what this family faces goes far beyond protocol or headlines. It is deeply personal, and despite the sorrow, those closest to them say the bond between William and Kate has only grown stronger. They have faced storms before, but this one has shaken them in a different way, reminding them just how fragile life truly is and how essential love becomes when everything else feels unstable. Kate is said to spend her evenings by William's side, offering quiet comfort, steady presence, and constant reassurance that he is not carrying this alone. Together, they are determined to face whatever lies ahead, not as prince and princess, but as husband and wife. As parents doing everything they can to shield their family from a world that rarely gives them room to breathe. Inside the palace, the tone may be somber, but it is also filled with warmth, loyalty, and unity. Walls once known as symbols of power and tradition now echo with family life. The soft voices of children, whispered reassurances, and an unspoken promise between 2 people refusing to let hardship tear them apart behind the headlines. This is the truth few ever see, a family standing together, bound by love, carrying one another through a storm they never expected. The hidden burden of royal life remains largely invisible to the outside world, masked by ceremony and tradition. From the outside, life within the British monarchy has always appeared polished and serene. Grand palaces, formal ceremonies, historic titles, and dazzling tradition paint a picture of privilege that captures imaginations worldwide. Yet behind those towering gates and marble halls lies a reality few can truly understand. Royalty is not just a symbol of power, it is a cage of duty. Every movement is watched, every word judged, and even the quietest moments are rarely private. For Prince William, who has lived his entire life under that relentless spotlight, the burden has only grown heavier with time. From the moment he was born, the world claimed a piece of him. Cameras flashed before he could speak, headlines followed before he could write. Expectation became his constant companion, invisible yet impossible to escape, shaping him long before he had a chance to choose his own path. As a child, he learned early that a single smile could inspire a nation, while a single mistake could ignite endless scrutiny. That awareness carved itself deep into his character. The world saw a prince, but behind closed doors was a young man learning how to exist without ever being allowed to feel ordinary. As he grew older, the pressure evolved rather than eased. Marriage, fatherhood, and responsibility brought joy, but also intensified the scrutiny. Every family photo, every public appearance, every rare moment of vulnerability was dissected and debated. The royal family lives under a microscope that magnifies triumphs and tragedies alike, leaving little room for personal peace. For William, who has always valued privacy and a sense of normal life, this constant attention has been both a duty and a quiet, exhausting battle. The monarchy demands perfection, yet humanity can never meet that standard. There is an unspoken rule passed down through generations: to endure, to never complain, to maintain composure even when life feels unbearable. It is a doctrine of silent resilience taught from monarch to heir. But in a world where technology erases boundaries between public and private, maintaining that silence becomes an act of survival. Friends and advisors have long spoken about William's struggle to balance two worlds, the life he must live as future king and the life he longs for as a husband and father. One world demands duty above all else. The other longs for laughter, family dinners, and freedom from constant expectation. Balancing those two identities is a challenge few could withstand. Every public smile hides calculation. Every speech carries responsibility. Even moments of rest are shadowed by the awareness that the world is always watching. This recent revelation about his personal pain has shattered the illusion of perfection surrounding the monarchy. It has reminded the world that beneath crowns and titles are people with hearts that break, fears that linger, and doubts no tradition can erase. For William, the hidden burden of royal life has become painfully visible. Duty may be noble, but it can also be crushing. The prince, long viewed as unshakable strength, now stands as proof that even those born into privilege can be prisoners of expectation. Behind the polished walls of royalty, humanity endures quietly, unseen, reminding everyone that even princes bleed in silence. History has a way of repeating itself, and the echoes are impossible to ignore. For centuries, the British monarchy has endured storms that would have broken lesser institutions. Yet behind the grandeur and ceremony, it has always been a family marked by sorrow. Every generation has faced moments when the image of perfection cracked, revealing human pain beneath the crown. This moment involving Prince William feels like one of those reckonings, a haunting reminder of history repeating itself. The memory of Princess Diana still lingers like an open wound. Her story remains one of the most emotional chapters in modern royal history, a reminder of how pressure and isolation can fracture even the strongest spirit. The young prince who once walked behind his mother's coffin grew up knowing firsthand the cost of royal life. That image of William and his brother during the funeral procession is etched into the hearts of millions. It was then that the world saw the unbearable weight of duty intertwined with grief, the cruel way responsibility and loss can collide. Queen Elizabeth's reign was also shaped by hardship, wars, family crises, and moments of national mourning. Yet each time, the monarchy endured not because it was untouched, but because it adapted. Her quiet resilience became the standard by which all royals were measured. She once said that grief is the price we pay for love, words that have echoed through every royal crisis since. Those words resonate again today as another generation faces its own trial beneath the crown. Prince William has long been seen as stability itself, the bridge between tradition and progress. Yet as this crisis unfolds, the parallels to the past are impossible to ignore. The same pressures that haunted his mother and burdened his grandmother now rest on his shoulders. The expectation to lead, to comfort, and to remain composed through pain remains relentless. Britain watches with a familiar mix of sympathy and unease, wondering whether the lessons of the past have truly been learned. In every era, the monarchy has been tested not by politics, but by emotion. Its strength has always depended on the humanity of its members. When that humanity falters, the institution itself trembles. This latest revelation about Prince William has once again reminded the world that crowns cannot shield the heart. The royal family may symbolize continuity, but its struggles reveal the same fragility found in every household. As Britain looks on, there is a deep sense of déjà vu, the feeling that an old story is being written again in a new time. The nation waits, uncertain whether the monarchy will emerge unchanged or forever altered by this moment. History continues to shape the crown, refusing to fade within palace walls. The past whispers through those halls, reminding all who wear the crown that legacy and suffering often walk side by side. And now, one question hangs heavy in the air. What happens next for Prince William after the palace's devastating revelation? Speculation has swept the nation like a storm. For a royal family built on order and tradition, this moment feels like standing at the edge of the unknown. The heir to the throne, long viewed as the steady future of the monarchy, now faces a crossroads that could redefine not just his own path, but the course of royal life itself. Behind closed doors, Conversations are unfolding that few will ever witness. Senior advisors and close aides are said to be meeting with the king, weighing decisions that could reshape the rhythm of the royal household. Quiet adjustments to schedules and responsibilities are already being discussed. Some believe other senior royals may temporarily take on greater public roles, allowing William the space to focus on his family and well-being. The monarchy has adapted during crises before, but this moment feels different. The world is watching closer than ever, and every decision will be etched into history. For King Charles, this is not only a constitutional challenge, but a deeply personal one. He has long admired his son's dedication, often describing William as the embodiment of the monarchy's future, a belief now tested like never before. Yet behind the composed expression of a reigning monarch beats the heart of a father who knows, all too well, the real price of royal life. Those closest to the palace say he has pushed for patience above all else, moving carefully, deliberately, determined to shield both his family and the long-term stability of the crown. His message, whether spoken in private corridors or carefully delivered to the public, has stayed firm and consistent. The monarchy must survive, yes, but never at the cost of its humanity. Inside Buckingham Palace, the atmosphere is tense, heavy with expectation. Every press line is dissected, every phrase weighed as if history itself is listening. Officials have promised more updates only when appropriate. A phrase that offers comfort to some and frustration to many others desperate for clarity. In the silence that follows, speculation doesn't just grow, it explodes. Some insiders believe the prince may step back temporarily from public duties, while others say he'll continue on a reduced schedule, supported quietly by those he trusts most. Either way, one thing is clear: the choices being made right now will echo far beyond these walls. Royal historians are already calling this a potential turning point, a chapter that could redefine how the modern monarchy handles crisis, emotion, and visibility. The institution has endured wars, abdications, and scandals that once seemed impossible to survive, but history shows it evolves best when it leans into empathy rather than secrecy. Today, vulnerability is no longer seen as weakness. It's connection. Outside the palace gates, the mood is solemn, yet hopeful. People gather quietly, laying flowers and handwritten notes, speaking in hushed tones about a prince they've watched grow from boyhood into responsibility. The world first knew him as a child shaped by grief, then as a man molded by duty and compassion. Now it watches as he faces one of the hardest tests of his life. Whatever decisions are made in the coming days, this moment will not fade. It will stand as a line in history, a before and after for Prince William and for the crown itself. Across Britain, a wave of tenderness has spread like a slow tide. The air feels heavy but warm with empathy, as if the nation itself has paused to breathe together. For once, the conversation isn't about titles, protocols, or power. It's about a man. A husband, a father, carrying a weight that no crown can soften. People who have followed his life for decades are no longer seeing a future king. They're seeing someone painfully familiar. In cities and villages alike, strangers talk quietly, not out of curiosity, but concern. Shop windows display photos of William and his family, surrounded by notes of hope and solidarity. Outside Buckingham Palace, candles flicker through the night, flowers line the railings, and prayers linger in the cold air. Inside homes, families sit together watching the news, remembering the young boy who once walked behind his mother's coffin and the promise he made to turn pain into purpose. This moment feels personal, raw, real, and deeply human. Faith leaders across the country have spoken out, urging compassion and unity. Churches hold evening vigils, cathedrals open their doors, and people come not to watch, but to feel, to reflect, to stand together. Britain has faced dark days before, but this one feels different. It's intimate, fragile, stripped of ceremony. Behind the shine of tradition lies the same ache felt in every household. Messages of support continue to pour in from across the Commonwealth and beyond, from leaders and citizens alike. But what truly matters is the quiet strength of his own people. The nation has a way of rallying when it counts, finding dignity in silence and unity in empathy. This time is no exception. Whatever the days ahead may bring, one truth stands firm. The heart of Britain stands with Prince William. People aren't asking for appearances or grand displays. They're asking for peace, for healing, for space. In every candle left burning and every whispered prayer, there is hope that he and his family will find strength beyond the headlines. As the lights dim over Buckingham Palace and the nation settles into uneasy quiet, one truth cuts through the noise. This story has become more than royal history. It's a reflection of human endurance. Behind the titles stands a man who carried the hopes of millions, and now, in his most fragile moment, those millions stand right beside him. The monarchy has survived centuries of storms, but few have struck the heart quite like this. Whatever comes next, this moment will be remembered not only for sorrow, but for the compassion it awakened. Because even in the shadows of hardship, a nation's love still burns brighter than any crown. If you found this powerful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share your thoughts, and comment below. Your voice matters.